safe and informed. How's this, Boston? You're in line to see potentially 16 hours of blizzard conditions during the day tomorrow. It's something officials in the Northeast are taking very seriously.
If you are in your car and you are on any road, town, village, city, doesn't matter, after 11 o'clock, you will technically be committing a crime.
New Yorkers should not underestimate this storm. Assume conditions will be unsafe.
The last time I saw it like this was during Sandy, when people were getting ready for Sandy.
New Yorkers race to get ready for Juno. Leaders are not mincing words. Get home and get off those streets. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Kelly Cass.
And I'm Kim Cunningham. Good evening, everyone. Winter Storm Juno is a storm that will bring intense conditions over the next 48 hours. The biggest concerns right now, blinding, fast accumulating snow, strong winds that will likely bring widespread power outages and coastal flooding.
We have a lot going on. Parts of 7 states in the Northeast are under blizzard warnings right now, and we are looking at a lot of snowfall accumulation within that area in the darker blue and the pink, and it's going to be blowing around and drifting with those strong gusty winds. Look at that. Parts of eastern New England, in Massachusetts, well over 2 feet of snow is what we're expecting here, up to a foot of snow as you make your way toward the Hudson River Valley down towards New York City. Eastern Long Island set to get a lot of snow as well.
And we have live team coverage from the major cities in line for Juno's worst.
All right, here in Boston, yeah, we're starting to get some snow picking up a little bit. It's been spitting snow since 11, now in a more consistent snow. The heaviest bands still to our south and east. There's a lot to consider with this storm as we get into the overnight hours, and tomorrow we're going to have winds. We are going to have some coastal concerns, not in Boston proper, not Boston Harbor that's protected, but to the North Shore and into the South Shore, Plymouth, and up into the Revere Beach area, Plum Island could have some issues. But I think the number one concern here in Boston is just going to be the amount of snow and the rate in which it's going to come down during the overnight hours and into tomorrow. No matter what kind of crew you have deployed, if you get snowfall rates of 3 inches or more an hour, it is going to be impossible to keep up. That's what we think is going to be going on here. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. For now, let's go south to Chris Warren, who's a little bit closer to the middle of the storm in Providence.
Yeah, that's right, Keith. Interstate 95 is right here, and you're about an hour to the north on a good day, but we know that the roads are getting worse. We're seeing conditions deteriorate, and that's exactly what's happening right now in Providence, Rhode Island. The winds have been picking up. We've seen the wind gusts really get cranking here. The snowflakes are getting a little bit bigger. The intensity of both of the snow coming down and the wind has been picking up over the past couple of hours. That travel ban goes into effect at midnight. You are not supposed to be on the roads. In fact, you can get a ticket, possibly arrested, if you are on the roads after midnight. Conditions expected to get even worse for several hours. Let's find out what's happening right now in New York City. That's where we find meteorologist Jen Carfagno. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Chris, hi to you. I tell you what, it's kind of eerie here in New York City. Already seeing things clear out. A travel ban here in New York City as well because of the storm. All cars need to be off the roads by 11 o'clock. The subways are going to shut down as well, 11 o'clock. So I'll tell you what, people are heeding that. And I'm seeing less and less and less of activity out here. Now, that said, weather-wise, we're not getting heavy snow. There's some light flurries that are blowing around in wind that has been gusting a little bit higher in, say, the last maybe really 15 minutes or so, but still, it's not the kind of wind you're seeing on Long Island. It's not the kind of wind that Chris is seeing up there in Providence. We are expecting things to increase through the night. It's all about being on that western edge of the band of snow, and we'll see if that sets up right here over New York City. Kim, back to you.
And Jen, that's the big question, right? New York City, a big area of concern tonight, and really holds the big question mark of this historic blizzard. How much snow will the city get, and when? Well, crews, by the way, will need to maintain 6,000 miles of streets. That's the equivalent of going from New York to Los Angeles and back. So that's why this forecast is so important. At the same time, it is a very difficult one in New York because our computer models are not agreeing on this. So this is one of them, the RPM. And notice we're really on that western edge and actually done, looks like sometime afternoon or early morning here in New York City on this computer model with the snow. And so this model is telling us, you know what, we're not going to see that much. You compare that to the European model, where we're still cranking out anywhere from 12 to 18 inches, Long Island up to 2 feet of snow. So that's why it's the difficult forecast. The RPM, 3 to 5 inches, the one I showed you first. So this is why it's a difficult forecast, but that's why we have the experts here at the Weather Channel to kind of sort that out for us. Storm specialist Carl Parker is looking at all the scenarios. Carl.
Kim, it's really tough, and we're talking about a very powerful storm, and if you think about a tornado coming by and getting very close to you, can get very close and blow some things around, but not actually hit you, and that is similar to what we are facing right now. We're looking at an incredibly powerful storm that could get very close to some areas, but not actually produce that much snow, and where the western edge of that is the real forecast question tonight. But let's take a look, first of all, at the water vapor picture and show you some evidence of how much power we've got out there. This is lightning. These are thunderstorms showing up way out over the open waters of the Atlantic, where the air temperatures are not terribly warm, and that's testament to the amount of vertical motion in this tremendous atmospheric disturbance that's now coming up and along the coast. Now, we look at the radar picture in New York, and we had a little band that came through earlier, got about 4 to 5 inches out of that, and now you've got more snow that is spread across Long Island and is driving westward. And when we expand the picture, here you get a sense, so you get a really larger sense of what's going on with this storm. And this is that monster that I talked about. And so the question is, just how far is that monster going to get? Is it going to reach all the way over there towards New York City and southeastern parts of New York, or is it just going to pivot up and across southeastern New England? It's a difficult forecast question, but we do know we've got a lot of certainty about the fact that we are going to see very heavy snow there in southeastern New England, along with tremendous wind, which is happening right now. The wind's gusting to nearly 50 miles per hour in Nantucket, 37, the most recent gust there in Plymouth, and now gusting to 33 miles per hour at Montauk Point. That is only going to get worse through the course of the night tonight, and that's why we think this blizzard is likely to be a problem right through the morning hours, through the middle of the day tomorrow. Very strong wind, heavy snow going on right there as the low slowly comes up and moves very little between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. So it's this relentless pounding. It's hour after hour of wind and snow. Snow drifts and impossible travel. Hopefully you are settled in these areas. The snow even going on into tomorrow evening, and then finally winding down by very late tomorrow and going into early on Wednesday morning. But we continue to see windy weather after that. So this is our forecast right now, showing the heavy amounts of snow, the heaviest amounts of snow, 2 feet, maybe more, there in eastern and southeastern parts of New England. That is a fairly high confidence forecast. What we're less sure about is just how much snow we're going to see along the western edge of that area of precipitation. Kelly, back to you.
Carl, thank you. Our team of reporters and meteorologists can't be beat when it comes to a storm like this.
That is the truth. They're spread out across the Northeast and New England to bring you live, nonstop coverage during and after Winter Storm Juno.
Introducing Aleve PM, the PM pain reliever that dares to work all the way until the AM. New Aleve PM. It's the first to combine a safe sleep aid plus the 12-hour strength of Aleve for pain relief that can last all the way until morning. New Aleve PM for a better AM.
Let's go from our little girl to all grown up. Let's say out with the old and in with the options, like that one, or those, with features like this. Let's get exactly what we imagined for less than we thought, and turn a modest budget into a majorly stylish bath. New bathroom, no problem. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Shop stylish vanities in-store and online.
Thrilled to have Jim Cantore on the show. He's been through like 80 tropical systems.
So we've got like 60 years of experience here. And that's just Sam.
Watch Jim Cantore, Sam Champion, and Jennifer Delgado on AMHQ, weekday mornings at 7. Stay with us for the latest on Winter Storm Juno.
Things are really going to pick up as the night goes along.
We're live from across the region with more in a moment. Only the Weather Channel.
Sir, we're going to need you on the runway later.
Don't let a severe cold hold you back. Get Theraflu. It has the power of 3 medicines to take on your worst pain and fever, cough, and nasal congestion. Theraflu breaks you free from your toughest cold and flu symptoms, so you never miss a day. Theraflu. Serious power.
Sometimes at last doesn't happen at first.
Your dad just kissed my mom.
Turning 2 worlds into one takes love. Helping protect that world takes State Farm.
Olive Garden's new 8 under 8 lunch combinations featuring 2 new house-made flatbreads, like our Pizziola flatbread, layered with Italian meats and cheeses, and our fresh and flavorful Mediterranean flatbread, plus super salad and breadsticks. 8 under 8 lunch combinations at Olive Garden.
Waiting quietly, the key to everything. A magic formula of protein and grain.
The sun will come out tomorrow.
Tomorrow is yours to claim. Kellogg's. See you at breakfast.
You are watching live extended coverage on the Weather Channel of Winter Storm Juno, a historic blizzard. It's taking aim on the Northeast and New England. Air travel being severely impacted. No flights are planned for Boston, Logan tomorrow. New York's LaGuardia and JFK have very limited operations as well. Several airlines are offering waivers, though, for those who booked on flights at affected airports. So that's good news. Kelly?
And Cam, that video from Boston, one of the cities in line for heavy, blinding snow. As many as 16 straight hours of blizzard conditions are possible. So we're digging into the science of this storm and how a blizzard is defined, because even though we do get snowstorms fairly frequently in the wintertime, it's not too often you hear the word blizzard. And here's the criteria from the National Weather Service. You need those winds sustained over 35 miles per hour or higher, and the visibility reduced to a quarter mile or less. And there's a time stamp here too. In fact, it has to go for at least 3 hours in a row. So again, it's almost hard to get that, because you can have winds that are gusting pretty high with snowstorms, but of course you need that wind to be very strong for a sustained period of time. What aren't factors? The snowfall amount, because sometimes you can have a ground blizzard, just snow on the ground that blows around, reducing visibility. Not a factor. Temperature, even though certainly we have plenty of cold air with this one, and that means all snow. Geographical location, not a factor when it comes to defining a blizzard either. Kim?
And now that we've defined what a blizzard is, let's go to a spot that will certainly see blizzard conditions. Let's head to Boston for the latest on the situation there. We're going to check in with Keith Carson. And Keith, you noticing any changes yet?
Kim, I am. The wind shift is something that's really striking me, because now we're getting the wind out of the north, and at times a little bit of a shifting component out of the northeast. We started the day out of the west, but now as this thing gets cranking, it's changing. Another thing, ladies, that's changing here in Boston is the mood. This is Boston Common. We're in the heart of everything, and there's really nobody out here other than plows, which you just saw one drive by doing good work for us. A couple people walking by on the main part of it, but the vast majority of this is now empty. And I think in a lot of ways it's a preparation thing. The city is prepared and they've warned people. The other part of this storm is this is actually good news, I think, that it started off with a bit of a warning shot, the lighter snow. It's going to be thumping snow later on tonight, but this early snow, my mom who lives near the Boston area and my stepdad, the same kind of thing they were talking about. We're just going to get home, and this early snow reminded them that they don't want to be out in it. The worst traffic accidents that I've seen when I lived in the Northeast actually came with snow squalls, things that came unannounced quickly through. This has let everybody know it's coming, and it's going to be a big problem for us. Now, the snow I'm walking on right now, by the way, some of this was already there. There was snow already on the ground, so not all of this is accumulated. We're probably looking at about a 3/4, maybe an inch of accumulation thus far. It's lighter. It's on top of that crusty snow from before, and it's enough now that they are dropping the plows here in the Boston Common area and the surrounding streets, Beacon Street, Tremont Street, all these streets around the Common that they're going to have to try to plow out. But the message has been clear. We only got a few more hours until it is technically illegal to be driving if you're not either a plow or an emergency worker. So at this point, everybody should be either at their destination that they're going to be at, or they should be heading in that direction and be off the roads by midnight. Once everybody gets in, then we can start to look at this storm and see how long we end up with those blizzard conditions, because plow guy's excited. See, he's ready to go. The thing with this storm is if we get 16 hours, Kelly and Kim, of straight blizzard conditions, I've never seen anything like that. Even if we get half of what the models are predicted for that, it's going to be a historic storm here in Boston. Ladies?
All right, thanks so much, Keith. And you're just about to get rocked, I think, with one of those snow bands coming in by the next half hour or so. All right, Keith Carson reporting from Boston.
And we're going to check back with him in about 20 minutes from now. In the meantime, though, we know the question everyone wants to know the answer to. When is all this going to happen? We've got the timing for you. You can see the darker blue on this map indicating some of those heavier snow bands working through Boston. As Kim just mentioned, we're going to have to watch that freezing line down toward the Cape. You may find some rain or sleet mixed in. And then even through Wednesday morning, Kim, that is when the snow will finally begin to taper off.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so looking at the additional snowfall out here at the Cape, maybe a little bit less. We may mix with a little bit of rain out there or sleet, so that may keep our amounts down a little bit. Additional snowfall here into Fitchburg, 20 inches, Worcester 19. So this time around, it's definitely coastal areas getting the most.
Our coverage of Winter Storm Juno continues right after the break. Stay right there.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium, the world's longest lasting AA battery in high-tech devices. Up to 6 times longer than the other leading brand.
Introducing the Citi Double Cash Card. It earns you cash back now and cash back later with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. With 2 ways to earn on purchases, it makes a lot of other cards seem one-sided.
Hey, guess what day it is?
Hump day!
Hump day! It's hump day!
Hey, Mike!
Guess what day it is? Hey, Camel, guess what day it is?
It's not even Wednesday. Let it go, Phil.
If you're a camel, you put up with this all the time. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Okay.
There's a myth out there that you can't do it all. That you can't be everything to everyone. Well, consider that myth shattered. This is the full line of Ram ProMaster vans and the all-new Ram ProMaster City, built to help you run the town from every direction.
Weather invention.
Wow, anybody else surprised it actually worked?
Mother Nature can absolutely change people.
I'm ready to get out of here and create a new track.
This is a tornado emergency.
It was hard to believe weather could do that.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-571-6603. That's 1-800-571-6603. Call now, 1-800-571-6603. For a free brochure, call 1-800-571-6603.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
If you have Medicare Part D, Walgreens gets that you might be at the corner of looking for a good deal, and sheesh, I wish I'd look some more. That's why Walgreens makes it easy to switch your prescriptions and save money. Just stop by and leave all the legwork to us. Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens, where you could save even more on Medicare Part D with copays as low as $0. At the corner of happy and healthy.
Currently in our area, 60 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, mainly clear. Low 49. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, mainly sunny. High 71. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday night, some clouds early will give way to generally clear conditions overnight. Low 50. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Our coverage of Winter Storm Juno continues. An historic blizzard, and there's a live look at New York City on the left from the top of the rock. You can see the visibility, not great, but you can certainly see the skyscrapers out there. And there on the right is Times Square. Temperature right now in the upper 20s. We've got light snow being reported, and at times that snow is going to come in some pretty heavy bands, and the winds are already gusting between 25 and 30 miles per hour, and that's also going to cause some problems with traveling. It's only going to get worse as we go through tonight and on into the day tomorrow. The other issue we have with those strong winds along the northeast coast, the piling up of water and a rise in that water. Let's bring in our hurricane specialist, Michael Lowry, who's going to discuss that coastal flood threat. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Kelly. You're probably used to seeing me during hurricane season, but what causes the coastal flooding during these winter storms is the same as what causes it during hurricanes. It's the strong winds, as Kelly was talking about, already gusting to 30 miles per hour here off the coast of New Jersey, and that's creating a storm surge, which is just that rise in water atop the normal tide. The tide has been out, though, for the past several hours, and that's kept us dry along the coast, but the tide is now coming in. Look at the tide forecast here for Atlantic City. We're talking about a high tide around 1 a.m. locally, so only in about 4 hours or so we're going to be dealing with that coastal flooding as the tide comes in. We have another low tide, but the water levels, they don't come down all that quickly. We have another high tide, a second one here tomorrow afternoon, and that's something that we're going to have to get through in addition to the high tide that we're going to experience this evening. Let's break it down for you and talk about the impacts and the timing of those impacts. The storm surge, the water being pushed ashore by those strong winds around the hurricane, going to affect Rehoboth Beach and those areas along the Delaware coast first from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Again, that's coming up very, very shortly. 2 to 3 feet of flooding. That's above your toes if you're standing along the coast. Atlantic City, you're also going to get that 2 to 3 feet of very chilly water, frigid water, near 40-degree water temperatures just offshore Sandy Hook. Also 2 to 3 feet in that same time frame. Though as we move up the coast to Connecticut and Rhode Island, the impacts are going to be later on in the overnight hours from 3 to 6 a.m. We're still expecting that 2 to 3 feet. The worst of the impacts, though, anywhere along the coast are going to be up here in coastal Massachusetts, not on the south-facing shorelines like we have here with Falmouth, but further to the north, Chatham, anything east-facing or north-facing, we're expecting 2 to 4 feet of flooding along the coast, and that's going to cause some major disruptive problems. Plymouth, Scituate, Sandwich, Hull, those are all areas that flood during your typical nor'easter. If you flooded during Nemo a few years ago, that was in 2013 in February, you're going to also see flooding from Juno, unfortunately, and the flooding will likely be worse than it was during Nemo. The tides, again, 3 to 5 a.m. is going to be our highest tide. The good news, though, is that down there in lower Manhattan, we aren't forecasting any flooding, and that's because of the seawall there that's protecting the city. Speaking of which, we have Jen Carfagno in New York City. Jen, how's it looking there?
Michael, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the radar because I'm watching that western edge of the heavy snow that's over Long Island to see when it's going to come into New York City. Right now, we just have flurries, really, light snow. The problem is that it's windy enough that it's blowing around the light snow, and I want to show you something else. The snow that we got earlier today, which was about 4.5 inches, it was so light and powdery, and I've been watching it just completely fly right off of here. You can see it and this is getting picked up and flying everywhere. You can see it in all the lights. So it's not necessarily the falling snow right now, which is reducing visibility, and that's going to be the problem overnight tonight here in New York City. The snow moves in, the winds really pick up, and we see snowfall rates very heavy, and that in itself will reduce visibility. But with the kind of winds we're expecting, over 30 and 40 miles per hour, that is going to reduce visibility even more, and what's going to make it so dangerous to folks for being out tonight. We have actually the city basically, shutting down. Subways closing at 11, all vehicles off the roads at 11. Folks are in for the night here in New York City, and I've noticed such a difference tonight compared to last night in New York City. There are not a lot of people out. Stores are all closed down, hard to find a bite to eat, can't get a cup of coffee. So really folks are taking it seriously. They're getting inside and heeding the warning, and we'll have to see what the night holds. And I'll begin watching the radar and watching the snow right here from Central Park. All right, Kim and Kelly, I'll send it back to you in the studio.
That's got to be so strange in New York City, right?
Yeah, everything just kind of not coming to a complete standstill, but slowing down big time. We'll be right back.
Dave, I'm sorry to interrupt. I gotta take a sick day tomorrow.
Dads don't take sick days. Dads take NyQuil. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine.
I was a single mom looking for a man, not only for myself, but for my son. When I went on eHarmony, I had to fill out a lot of questions about myself, so they really got to know who I was and what I was looking for.
eHarmony, I think, is the only dating website that could bring something to me, the exact kind of person I was looking for. Other sites seemed really shallow. There's no perfect match beyond Angela. She's the best person for me.
Maybe it's your turn. Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
I'm outside. Where are you? I'm right here. I'm in the Buick. I don't see a Buick. Oh, got it.
The expectation-shattering Buick Encore.
Wow.
Now experience Buick's newest crossover and pay no interest for 5 years. Plus, get $1,500 purchase cash on the 2014 Buick Encore.
The best part about going to Walt Disney World just might be staying at a Walt Disney World Resort Hotel. From royal encounters to royal rooms. And pirates to paradise. The magic never has to stop. And now you can save up to 30% off a select Walt Disney World Resort hotel room. Book your stay now and discover how close the magic can be.
And I turn around and there's 3 rattlesnakes.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't worry, Rob. You're covered.
State Farm agents are there whenever you need them.
19 years ago, we thought, wow, how is there no way to tell the good from the bad? So we gave people the power of the review. And now Angie's List is revolutionizing local service again. You can easily buy and schedule services from top-rated providers. Conveniently stay up to date on progress and effortlessly turn your photos into finished projects with our Angie's List app. Visit angieslist.com today.
Oh, there's an energy crisis happening, all right. A human one. And it's time to fight it. With the good energy of Quaker Oats. It's how we help keep go-getters like you going and getting. One bite at a time. Try new Quick Steel Cut oatmeal for a heartier texture. Quaker Up.
Thrilled to have Jim Cantore on the show. He's been through like 80 tropical systems.
So we've got like 60 years of experience here. And that's just Sam.
Watch Jim Cantore, Sam Champion, and Jennifer Delgado on AMHQ, weekday mornings at 7. Stay with us with the latest on Winter Storm Juno.
Things are really going to pick up as the night goes along.
We're live from across the region with more in a moment. Only the Weather Channel.
Winter Storm Juno. It's big, it's bad, and it could cripple several major Northeast cities. We're already seeing impacts in New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Maine, and New Jersey. You name it, we are seeing winter's worst. Live team coverage all night right here on the Weather Channel. I'm Kelly Cass along with Kim Cunningham.
Hi, everyone. You know, we have meteorologists positioned throughout the entire Northeast to bring you live images of Winter Storm Juno as the snow moves in. Keith Carson is anchoring our coverage in Boston tonight. Keith, big storm even for Boston. It looks like you're about to get hit with I think a pretty strong band of snow, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, you're right about that, Kim. In fact, Cantori, who I think should be sleeping because he's on tomorrow morning, but he just texted me and said we're going to get hammered in 40 minutes. And yeah, the radar looks strong to our south and southeast. We're going to get whipped around here. Not to say it's not snowing right now. In fact, that's one of the better gusts that we've gotten so far. And the wind's shifting now to the north and northeast as the storm develops. Let's set the scene for you a little bit here. We're in Boston Common, normally a busy place, not so much tonight. One thing that I've noticed really strongly here is that the whole tone of Boston has changed. So earlier in the day, there's some anticipation. Everybody's talking about what's going to happen with the weather, how long is it going to last. Then around 5 or 6 people are still jogging. They're doing the normal stuff, getting food. Now you got the plow trucks. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else in Boston Common right now. Pretty much not. So everybody is now doing the shelter-in-place deal where they're going to be where they're at for the next 24 hours or so. We talked about sales for bread, milk, all that other stuff. Wine, beer, also big here, sellers for obvious reasons. Now, the snow I'm standing on, it's important to note that some of this is crusty, older snow. We did have a relatively quiet winter so far in Boston, statistically speaking, but we do have snow from our last system here that's kind of crunched up. And on top of that, about an inch or so of additional snow has fallen. This is all child's play, this is the beginning part of the storm, because once we really get it going later tonight, there is no equipment that can keep up with the snowfall rates the computer models are predicting on this storm in Boston. 3 inches an hour or more late tonight, early tomorrow morning. And look, there's something I wanted to point out to everyone at home. When we talk about safety tips, we're not just kind of blowing this at viewers. We take it seriously ourselves. In fact, we decided to move our location here about a quarter of a mile closer to where we're staying because we felt it was unsafe in the middle of the night when it's ripping snow to try to walk a half mile or more. So we adhere by the same standards that we tell everybody at home to do, and we want everyone to be safe, just enjoy the amount of snow we're gonna see, and not have any problems with it. All right, Carl, let's go to you, and I'm sure you noticed that band sitting to the south of east of us in Boston. It looks pretty strong coming on in.
Certainly does, and we're gonna see a lot more of that through the overnight hours and into early tomorrow morning. Now, we have been looking at this forecast all afternoon and all this evening, and it's really interesting because a lot of times when you have models that start out in different places, slowly but surely over time they begin to get closer and closer together, almost invariably. That's almost always how it goes. Well, in this case, here we are. We're into this event now. We've begun to see the snow coming down in parts of New England, and the models are now in different places. And here's a look at where they are. This is the European model. This is the most recent run from the European model. There is a lag. This is the morning run of the European model, and it takes quite some time to get this run. We have to wait until afternoon to get it. But what the most recent run said is that the low is actually going to sort of cycle around a little bit, and that precipitation is going to blow out fairly far to the west, and that's why the forecast has been as high as it has in New York City. That's a big part of the reason why. The European model is a very good model, generally very well respected. Now, the GFS model showing a system that is farther east, not as much snow in New York City, but a lot of snow there across New England. There's no doubt about that part of the forecast. That part is locked in. And then here is a high resolution model. This is the RPM model, and the RPM model is a short-term mesoscale model, can do very well in some situations, but it doesn't always. And it too is farther to the east, not showing as much snow to the west. And so what we have done is sort of blended these solutions. And again, there's very high confidence in this part of the forecast. We are going to have a blizzard. It's developing right now. It's only going to get worse through tonight and early tomorrow morning, and it will continue through the middle of the day tomorrow there in New England. But there is less confidence about this part of the forecast, about the western edge of the forecast. Right now, what we've got is 8 to 12 inches of additional snowfall in New York. And the radar picture really illustrates the problem here. Here you've got big storm over here, all in here, and in here, not much of anything going on. So how far does the edge travel off to the west? That is the question about this particular forecast. And There's a larger view. Nice band now coming into southern parts of Long Island right there. We're going to see a lot more of those banding features. It's those mesoscale bands, as we call them, that produce the very heavy snowfall rates. And in fact, we have seen moderate snow here. Moderate snow now being reported in Taunton as well as in Plymouth. And the winds are really picking up, now gusting to 55 miles per hour in Nantucket, and will gust probably over 60, maybe 70 miles per hour there in southeastern New England, blowing that snow around, making it very difficult to see and certainly to travel at all. So here's the forecast, and this is from our forecast center. Does show the snow beginning to really come down in earnest all across New England by tomorrow morning, and then we find more of that right through the late morning and then even into the early afternoon. Only in late afternoon and early evening do we see it beginning to relent somewhat, but the winds continue at that time. So a major storm, one for the books, no doubt, there across much of New England. Kelly, over to you.
Carl, thank you so much. We're going to talk about the impacts on travel. Obviously, a huge concern across the Northeast. Joining us on the phone right now, Polly Trottenberg, the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation. And Polly, take us through the plan this evening about the trains, the buses. What's the situation with that?
Right. Hi, Kelly, and thanks for having me on. And as you all have been reporting, as of 11 p.m. tonight, we're pretty much going to be putting a stop to non-essential travel. There will be a ban on driving not only in the city, but the governor has declared for the counties surrounding New York City. The MTA will be suspending subway and bus service. New York City DOT will be suspending Staten Island ferry service. So we're really asking people to get where they need to go before 11 o'clock, get home, and stay safe.
Okay, great advice there. But when do you think the mass transit will resume that service? I know tomorrow's still going to be a tricky day.
Right. I think as my Mayor de Blasio said today, we can't predict exactly when Mother Nature is going to let up. Obviously, we'll want to get everything up and running as quickly as we can, but I don't want to predict quite yet until we see how the storm plays out.
And where can people go to get that updated schedule information? Because sometimes you got the cancellations and then just a delayed schedule. Where can people get that information?
Well, obviously they can turn on their TV. I think every news station is national and local is covering the news. You can go online. You can listen to the radio. Pretty much all the media out there are covering the story, and we're giving all the transportation agencies are giving all our updates to all the media outlets.
Polly, how do you think you're doing so far with this particular storm?
Well, look, so far, if you look out in the city now, the roadways are clear. That's good. Plows are able to get through, and city emergency vehicles in case they're needed, either for fire, ambulances. So far it looks good, but as you all have been reporting, the real snow is yet to come. So, you know, we think we're going to be ready for it.
You're absolutely right, Polly. About 3 to 5 inches so far in that area. Thank you so much for joining us on the phone tonight. We hope everybody stays safe out there. Kim, over to you.
All right, Kelly, let's talk about the timing here in New York City. First, we're going to show you our forecast, where the low is going to be, what the radar is going to look like with time. We're going to time this out. You can see some of the darker blues indicating some of the heavier snows. That's coming in and probably after midnight. But then it looks like by Wednesday, 1 o'clock in the morning, most of New York City, well, you're done with the snow. Even Long Island will be tapering off. So the forecast is for additional snow. We could see maybe 8 inches total here in New York City. We're going to see a little bit more in parts of Long Island. Already reports out of Queens County of 6.5 inches of snow with this. And we'll pick up 14 inches here at the eastern parts of Long Island. So again, heavy snow still expected, especially the areas that kind of jet out a little bit. So here in New York City, expect this somewhere around 10 o'clock. It's possible we could hear some thunder with this. So some thunder snow expected. With that, you'll get a burst of heavy snow, even off and on through 1 o'clock in the morning. And then we're going to see snow tapering off early afternoon, looks like, for tomorrow. All right, guys, we're going to be with you all night long here on the Weather Channel. Coming up, we're going to take you hour by hour across the state of Rhode Island and then live to downtown Providence, where we'll see how they will fare with this historic blizzard. So stick around, folks. We'll be back with more. Plus, we'll get live reports from Jen Carfagno, who's been in New York City. We'll find out how things are going there. All coming up right after this.
Sunday dinners at my house.
You're waiting for my lasagna, aren't you?
It's a full day for me, and I love it. But when I started having back pain, my sister had to come help. I don't like asking for help, I took Tylenol, but I had to take 6 pills to get through the day. So my daughter brought over some Aleve. It's just 2 pills all day. And now,
To family.
I'm back.
Aleve, 2 pills, all day strong, all day long. And now, introducing Aleve PM for a better AM.
Temptation is toast with Special K protein cereal. Each hearty bowl is packed with protein and fiber. Satisfy your hunger with Special K. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Special K chocolate peanut butter protein meal bars are packed with protein and fiber. Satisfy your hunger with Special K.
Sir, we're going to need you on the runway later. Don't let a severe cold hold you back. Get Theraflu with the power of 3 medicines to take on your worst pain and fever, cough, and nasal congestion. It breaks you free from your toughest cold and flu symptoms. Theraflu, serious power.
Let's go from our little girl to all grown up. Let's say out with the old and in with the options, like that one, or those, with features like this. Let's get exactly what we imagined for less than we thought, and turn a modest budget into a majorly stylish bath. New bathroom? No problem. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Shop stylish vanities in-store and online.
Olive Garden's new 8 under 8 lunch combinations featuring 2 new house-made flatbreads, like our Pizziola flatbread, layered with Italian meats and cheeses, and our fresh and flavorful Mediterranean flatbread, plus super salad and breadsticks. 8 under 8 lunch combinations at Olive Garden.
I am never getting married.
We're never having kids. We are never moving to the suburbs. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
My goal was to finally get in shape. Not to be focusing again on my moderate to severe chronic plaque psoriasis. So I finally made a decision to talk to my dermatologist about Humira. Humira works inside my body to target and help block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to my symptoms. In clinical trials, most adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis saw 75% skin clearance on Humira, and the majority of people were clear or almost clear in just 4 months.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Set a new goal today. Ask your dermatologist about Humira, because with Humira, clear skin is possible.
Welcome back to our coverage of Winter Storm Juno. Rhode Island, things are really beginning to ramp up.
That's right. Travel ban goes into effect midnight. State police say it's unknown when it's going to be lifted. The governor has also declared a state of emergency for Rhode Island.
And things are going to go downhill in a hurry, Kim. Right. Behind us, we got the radar showing us the darker blue. That indicates some of the heavier snowfall that's going on right now. We do think the snow is going to persist right through the overnight hours, getting pretty heavy at times.
Right, even maybe some thunder snow in there too. That actually we'll see, a quick burst of heavy snow with that as well. Some of the heavier bands now making their way into parts of New England, and it looks like the winds are going to be picking up as well. But look at this snowfall totals, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, we could see a little bit of a mix in right along the immediate coastline, but we're still thinking enough cold air in place. We could see well over a foot of snow. 19 inches is what we're going for in Providence itself, but look over towards Taunton. Ooh, closer to 2 feet of snow there.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough, folks. It's going to be very cold as well. And Chris Warren is live in downtown Providence. Chris, how's it going this hour right now? Looks like the snow picking up some for sure from the last time we talked to you.
Yeah, the snow certainly is picking up. The snowflakes are getting bigger, and we've been having some stronger wind gusts as well over the past couple of hours. Time now to get an update with Major Tom Verdi with the Providence Police Department. And Major, we appreciate taking the time to speak with us. I know it's a busy day for you. It's going to be a busy night. Can you let us know how things are going right now?
Thus far in the city, we're doing very well. The streets are clear. We have close to 100 plows on the road right now. People have stayed home. They listen to the mayor, listen to the governor. We've only had 16 accidents since 4 o'clock, nothing serious at all. So thus far, I mean, it's starting to pick up, like you said. It's really starting to pick up. I expect it to get a lot worse, but right now the city looks good. We're in good shape.
So what's the biggest concern going forward?
People staying home. People have to stay home. If you come out, it's going to be a problem. You can't come out. People cannot come out unless there's a real need for you to be out. You have to stay home.
So if people are out driving around after midnight, what happens if the Providence Police Department see them?
When it gets bad, and it will within the next couple hours, the roads at different times will be impassable, and then it's going to be very difficult for us to get to you. So please, motorists, stay home. We've towed a number of cars thus far. We hope not to tow many more. So the message is stay home, let the plows do their work. You're safer at home. There's no real need at all to be out here.
Now, there is a need if you're in emergency services, you're in the police, you guys have to be out here. What's your team doing, all of your officers? Working extra hours? What's the story for them and their families?
Emergency service is completely different. We have our plans already in place, police, fire, EMS. We'll be here on and off for the next 2 or 3 days. We have a number of police, so we have 50 police officers. Every car in the city is doubled right now. There's strategic locations, same with police. And we have our EOC, Emergency Operations Center. It's been operational since noon today.
All right, Major Tom Verde, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Again, that travel ban goes into effect at midnight tonight. You are not supposed to be on the roads. Not only is it goes against the ban, but also it's just dangerous. As we see right here, this is just the beginning, and we're seeing that snow really pick up. The winds are expected to get stronger, and that snow is expected to get heavier. That's the latest from Providence, Rhode Island. Back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, Chris, quick question for you. You've been there all day. Did you get the feel from the people there in Providence that they're taking it serious, that they will abide by these rules that are now in effect?
You know, I have had that feeling. The reason for that was rush hour started at 2:30. It was absolutely packed right here. Most of the morning, I was out here walking around 8 through about noon, just kind of, checking out the scene here. And we saw a car every once in a while. But around 2:30, it was packed. People getting onto Interstate 95. So it does look like, and the whole parking lot over here is empty, which was full earlier this morning. So it does look like people did start their rush hour earlier and did want to get home and heed the warning.
Chris, just now, right behind you, we saw a car skid out and do some spinning, getting on that. I don't know if that's a ramp to the interstate or what, but that was a little scary.
That's why you heard us gasp.
Yeah, I heard it. It sounded it sounded like there was a little bit of spin, but we have seen a little bit of that. Once you get to the interstate, it's much better. It's just these side streets when they're not as heavily traveled, that snow will build up much faster.
All right, Chris, stay safe out there. We'll be checking back with you. It's a pretty scene, but it's also dangerous obviously out there on the roads.
And it's going to get worse, that's for sure. Head on Weather Center Live. We're going to update the latest storm timing and the impacts in New York and Connecticut.
Everything you need to know to stay ahead of Winter Storm Juno. This is going to be lasting for quite a while, all the way through Wednesday. And there's a live look at New York City where, Times Square, it's usually a lot busier than that, Kim.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more maybe snowflakes out there right now than people, and that's a good thing. Everybody is heeding the warnings here, and you can see now some of the different views around New York City. I'm expecting maybe some of the snow to get in here pretty soon. We've had reports just east of you of 6.5 inches of snow so far.
On the bottom there's a ground shot of Manhattan. Of course, we've seen anywhere from 4 to even 5.5 inches of snow. We'll be right back.
At the end of the day, my hands are beat up.
Especially during the winter times, hands are splitting, cracking, making it very difficult to do my job.
O'Keefe's Working Hands. Guaranteed relief for dry hands that crack and split.
Best stuff we've ever used.
It just works.
Learn more at workinghands.com.
You park your car. As you walk away, crunch. A garbage truck backs into it. So you call your insurance company looking for a little support. What you get is a game of 1,000 questions. Was it raining? Were your flashers on? Was there a dog with you? By the time you hang up, you're convinced the accident was your fault. Then you remember, you weren't even in the car.
At Liberty Mutual, we make filing a claim as stress-free as possible. See car insurance in a whole new light. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Weather invention.
Wow. Anybody how surprised it actually worked.
Mother Nature can absolutely change people.
I'm ready to get out of here and create a new track.
This is a tornado emergency.
It was hard to believe weather could do that.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
Currently in our area, 59 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 49. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, a mainly sunny sky. High 71. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday night, some clouds early will give way to generally clear conditions overnight. Low 50. Here's our 7-day outlook.
At Ancestry, we call it a hint. Our little leaf that helps guide you through the past. Simply type in a name and you're taken on a journey. A journey that crosses generations and continents. All to tell the most amazing story. Yours. Discover your story. Start searching for free now at Ancestry.com.
Coffequince number 5, the sleepless night.
Sorry.
Robitussin DM Max Nighttime's dual-action liquid instantly soothes your throat and delivers fast, powerful cough relief. Robitussin, don't suffer the Coffequences.
I've seen hurricanes, floods, I've seen tornadoes. We give out Duracell batteries after the worst happens. And when the power's out for days, we stay with them. You might say they lost everything, but that's not what I see. I see a different kind of power. I saw it in Ruth, Adam, Tom. It's the power they have inside of them. The power to move forward.
At Duracell, we believe that's the power that never, ever goes out.
When a small business needs to secure financing to do things like buy new equipment, purchase inventory, or hire more employees, they turn to OnDeck, the small business loan experts. OnDeck has provided over $1 billion in true business loans to more than 700 industries. Unlike traditional lenders, OnDeck says yes faster and more often. Maybe that's why 93% of our customers said they would recommend us, and why OnDeck has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Plus, OnDeck is now publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Why is OnDeck a better choice for small businesses? We evaluate the health of your business, not just your personal credit score. With OnDeck, you can receive a decision in minutes, not months. And best of all, funding in as fast as 1 business day. At OnDeck, we actually want to lend to small business. How can we help your small business? Go to OnDeck.com and find out. There's no obligation, and you can receive a decision in minutes. Visit us online at OnDeck.com today.
Stay with us for the latest on Winter Storm Juno.
Things are really going to pick up as the night goes along.
We're live from across the region with more in a moment. Only the Weather Channel.
This is a serious situation. If you violate this state order, it's a possible misdemeanor. It's fines up to $300.
Governor Cuomo talking about the plans in his state to keep everybody safe with this storm that's now underway. Connecticut Governor Malloy also telling folks to stay off the roads, avoid unnecessary travel. We're looking at the radar right now where you see those bands of darker blue working its way from the south to the north and west. Those are some bands of heavier snow. Hartford, I just checked on your observation. Light snow being reported right now at 21 degrees, visibility 1.75 miles. But at times that visibility is going to dip to 1/4 mile or less. And if we get those winds at least least 35 miles per hour sustained for about 3 hours. We could certainly see some blizzard conditions here, and you can see the darker blue indicating where we are going to find some of those heavier snow bands Tuesday into Wednesday, and then it finally starts to taper off as we get into the afternoon on Wednesday. So our blizzard warning for Hartford does take us till 1 o'clock in the morning Wednesday. Here is a look at how much snow is going to pile up here across the state of Connecticut. We're going 16 inches right here in Hartford, 14 inches around Norwich, 14 inches Waterbury, Torrington picking up over a foot of snow as well. And keep in mind with that wind, it's going to be hard to measure that snow. It's really going to be blowing and drifting, and it's going to be a huge problem for travel, not just tonight, but throughout the day tomorrow as well. Kim? All right. In fact, you know, Nemo is a bad storm as well. A lot of folks have been comparing what's going on now with Winter Storm Nemo years ago, when we saw blizzard conditions for 4 hours during that storm. Now for Juno, we are forecasting as many as 16 hours of blizzard conditions. So it is possible that those blinding conditions with heavy snow and wind won't last quite that long, but it's very likely that this storm will outperform Nemo in Boston, at least, when it comes to blizzard conditions. So let's bring in our storm specialist, Carl Parker, joining me now from the lab. And Carl, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Kelly, I do think that we're in for a very serious storm right now, and this is going to be one of those storms for the books, especially in southeastern New England. But we don't know exactly how much snow is likely to come down there in the tri-state area. It's going to be a very sharp gradient, most likely. And at this point, what we're thinking is about 8 to 12 in the city and more to the east and less to the west. Now, what's interesting about that is that, of course, the officials in New York have been working very hard to prepare for the storm. Just yesterday morning, we were looking at possibly 1.5 to 2 feet of snow. That was our forecast. And so if it happens that they don't get that much, but they did do a lot of preparing for the storm, we certainly can't fault them for that, because it's better for them to have prepared than not to have prepared. And certainly we've seen the opposite many, many times. Something similar to that happened in Atlanta last year. So here is our forecast right now. And I'll tell you about the confidence associated with this particular forecast. We've got a lot of confidence in this part of it. We know that there is going to be a blizzard. It's developing right now. It's going to get worse through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. It will be very bad indeed. Winds gusting over 60 miles per hour across much of southeastern New England. Very heavy snowfall rates, impassable roads, life-threatening conditions, even for people that have a lot of experience with storms like this. And we know that many of you do, that most of you do. But it's going to be very bad out there. Now, on the western edge of all of this, that is where the forecast is less certain. And again, right now we are saying 8 to 12 in New York. That's certainly not nothing. There's going to be a lot of wind with that, blowing that snow around. It will be very difficult to travel there as well. There is the forecast, and this is from our Global Forecast Center. So the snow really, really coming down heavily tomorrow morning there along the 95 corridor, Boston down into Providence, into Hartford, eastern Long Island, and the edge of that is likely going to be somewhere near the tri-state area. Exactly where is difficult to say. Then going through the middle of the day on Tuesday, still very heavy snow with a lot of wind. We continue to see that even into the afternoon. So this is a very long duration event. It goes on for an exceptionally long period of time. Finally, by Wednesday morning, it begins to let up somewhat. We still see some strong wind there, but we expect that the snow rather, is going to continue to be coming down at that time. Kim, over to you.
And Carl, let's talk about thunder snow a little bit, because I know we have it in our forecast, and a lot of folks, you know, maybe, I don't want to say treated to it, but it is somewhat of a rare event, and actually several cities could see it tonight. Yeah, no doubt about that, Kim, and that is really testament to the amount of vertical motion in the atmosphere. You don't think of thunder and lightning as occurring in a colder environment, but it certainly can as you get a warmer layer coming into these storms, and then again, you've got tremendous vertical motion creating these convective clouds, and you get this lightning and thunder. And I've seen that before. I saw that in the superstorm of 93, and it's a remarkable thing. You know, one thing that you'll see is this sort of bright, diffuse flash, because you've got so much reflectivity in all of the snow that's all around. So rather than being a point of light, which is what we typically see in the summertime, the entire sky lights up for a second, and it's a remarkable thing to see, and I'm certain that we will get some of that tomorrow. And Carl, with that, you know, of course, we can get a quick burst of heavy snow. So you think maybe rain or snowfall rates could be even higher than an inch per hour with some of those bursts?
Absolutely. It would not be at all surprising to be talking about 3 to 4, maybe even 5 inch per hour snowfall rates with these mesoscale bands. Now, it's really difficult to tell you exactly where these bands are going to set up, but we've seen some incredible bands with storms like this, and where they do set up, and it's likely going to be there in southeastern New England, within those, there could easily be 4, maybe even 5 inch per hour snowfall rates, and that's how we end up getting 1.5 feet, 2 feet, maybe even more than that. There could be some spots that get 3 feet of snow out of this storm there in southeastern New England.
Incredible. All right, Carl, thanks so much. Let's show you right now what it looks like here in New York, where we're expecting some of the snow to get in here. In Long Island, I was checking some totals. We've seen 6.5 inches, maybe some snow coming in very soon. Right now, you're looking live. It looks like Times Square, atop of the Rock, and here in Manhattan, where Reed Timmer is stationed and showing us a live view of what's going on right now. And happening right now, Winter Storm Juno, a historic blizzard in progress. We're looking at snow that has been quickly accumulating in many states. 7 states, by the way, under blizzard warnings. This storm is already starting to show its strength across parts of Massachusetts and Connecticut and Rhode Island.
And whether you're out on the roads, maybe walking from point A to point B, or maybe you're just at home watching the storm from your window, we've got information you need to know to stay safe and informed. How's this for you, Boston? You're in line to potentially see 16 hours of blizzard conditions during the day tomorrow. It's something officials in the Northeast are taking very seriously.
If you are in your car and you are on any road, town, village, city, doesn't matter, after 11 o'clock, you will technically be committing a crime.
New Yorkers should not underestimate this storm. Assume conditions will be unsafe.
The last time I saw it like this was during Sandy, when people were getting ready for Sandy.
Race to get ready for Juno. Leaders are not mincing words. Get home and get off those streets. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Kelly Cass.
And I'm Kim Cunningham. Winter Storm Juno is a storm that's going to bring intense conditions over the next 8 hours. Some of you haven't seen that yet. The biggest concerns right now, blinding, fast accumulating snow, strong winds that will likely bring widespread power outages, and of course the coastal flooding.
Millions of people being impacted by this. In fact, parts of 7 states in the Northeast are under blizzard warnings right now. That area is shaded in pink, and we are looking at a lot of snowfall accumulation, and it's going to be hard to even measure that snow as we're going to have that wind blowing it all over the place. Look at that, 18 to 24 inches, more than 2 feet of snow is possible in the eastern parts of New England as well. We've got live team coverage from the major cities in line for Juno's worst.
Yeah, in Boston, one of them, we're here in Boston Common, where we've seen pretty continuous snow here for the past couple of hours after kind of spitting snow in the morning. Now we're in the more steady stuff, about to get hit by a strong band coming in here in a half hour or so, coming in from the south. We're in Boston Common. A lot of things to think about here. The city seems to be prepared. There's a travel ban coming up. We're going to have ripping winds during the overnight hours, and also add to that the possibility of some coastal flooding. Not in Boston proper. It's protected by the harbor, but up towards Revere and Plum Island. We're going to talk about all the details of what's coming up with this in a few minutes, but for now, let's go to about an hour south to Chris Warren in Providence, Rhode Island.
Hello to you, Keith. Yeah, that's Interstate 95 on-ramp right here. And this is heading up to Boston, but again, that's the on-ramp going northbound, Interstate 95 right here. The road on 95, the road conditions have not been too bad lately. However, with less cars on the road, fewer cars on the road, and more of that snow coming down, we're starting to see more of the white over 95. When you look, even right here at this intersection, heading down onto Interstate 95, it is compact snow right now. It's like getting up that last approach to the mountains if you're going skiing. This is full-on winter scene right now. The snowflakes have gotten bigger and the wind has gotten stronger, and we're expecting that to increase and continue throughout the overnight hours and through much of the day tomorrow. Now down the road, down Interstate 95 to the south, and then turning west, you end up in New York City. Let's go there now in the Big Apple. That's where we find Jen Carfagno. Hi, Jen.
All right, Chris, I'll tell you what, if you don't know your directions, you will tonight in New York City. This is a nor'easter, meaning the wind's coming from the northeast, and we've just had this wind coming at me here in the last couple of minutes or so from the northeast, and it's certainly picking up a little bit, the wind. The snow has not picked up here yet in New York City. We are under that blizzard warning, continues through the overnight. As we've been talking about, that western edge of that heavy band is likely to set up either on us or very close to us, and so that's what we're tracking right now, is to see when and where that sets up and fills in across the tri-state area. Long Island, they picked up more than 6 inches of snow already. Here in New York City, we did actually have about 4 inches of snow, 4.5 to be exact, earlier today from the clipper snow that was affecting us in the area. That was a light fluffy snow. The plows have been out clearing that, and now the roads are clear of cars as we're getting closer and closer to that 11 o'clock curfew here, when all cars will be off the road in New York City. Kim?
All right, Jen, and New York City, of course, as you mentioned, that's a tough forecast right now. It really holds the big question of this historic blizzard. How much snow will New York City get and when? We're pretty confident about what's happening in New England, but let's talk about New York and why we're a little concerned about the totals here. This is the RPM computer model. It's a high-res model, and you look at this and you look at the edge of this. It's right over New York City through this event. So the heavy snow's off to the east, according to this computer model. This is one of them we look at. And so the European model, another one, this one is still saying 12 to 18 inches. We'll be getting new data in on the European here overnight tonight. 12 to 18 inches there. Compare that to the RPM showing 3 to 5 inches. That is somewhat significant. However, I think we're ready. And Carl, I think we'll be looking at this probably closely over the next couple hours to see which model is, again, handling this better.
Yeah, Kim, we just got a new run from the RPM model, and it's sticking to its guns. It's still sticking with that idea of it being farther east. The GFS is farther east. The UK Met is farther east. The European model is one of the models that's farther to the west, and we're sticking with this idea that it's going to be a much bigger deal in areas that are along that western edge of the precip. And this, it really illustrates what's happening with the storm right now. In fact, I'm going to put a line on here right up through there, and basically to the east of that line, got a big snowstorm going on right now. To the west of that line, there's not much happening at all. So the question is, where's that line going to be? Is it, as a lot of the models are saying, going to be basically in that position and then gradually moving a little farther east? Or is it going to manage to move a little farther to the west, even as the surface low is moving off in towards the northeast? And it's certainly a tricky forecast. It's one of the trickiest that I've seen this late in the game. Usually your models come together when you're right in the hours before the event. And in this case, we're not seeing that. It really is rather striking. Now, I do want to show you there is one heck of a band that's now coming across western Long Island, and we do have moderate snow now being reported in Islip. There's the band right there. We're going to see a lot more of these banding features through the course of the night. There's a look at the last 3 hours, and here is this beast of a storm that is now beginning to take shape and coming up and into southern parts of New England, and all that very heavy snow that's now developing in these banding features offshore. We'll see more of that now in southeastern New England, coming right across the South Shore and up into 495. And the wind is really beginning to pick up, gusting now to 55 miles per hour in Nantucket, 48 in Plymouth, and now 40 at Montauk Point. We're going to see a lot more of that wind through the night tonight. This is a look at the forecast for the wind gusts. Look at that, 50 to 60 to 75 miles per hour. Montauk, Nantucket, you're talking about tremendous wind there, and coupled with heavy snow, that is easily going to be enough to bring down power lines and tree limbs, and that's exactly what we see right through the day tomorrow. This is going to be a very long duration event. Kelly, over to you.
All right, get those flashlights ready just in case you lose your power. We are forecasting widespread power outages for that area, and so far we've been keeping track of the snow totals, and we think that it's really going to ramp up overnight especially, but Nantucket already 4.5 inches, Hoboken, New Jersey nearly 4 inches.
And here in Newark, it's a little over 2.5, East Rutherford, New Jersey 2.6, and some other totals coming in. And here in New York, Oceanside, over 6 inches, actually just east of there. But LaGuardia, about 4.3.
No wonder we had lots of flight cancellations. It's a terrible travel day, that's for sure. We'll be right back.
When heartburn comes creeping up on you, fight back with relief so smooth, it's fast. Tums Smoothie starts dissolving the instant it touches your tongue and neutralizes stomach acid at the source. Smoothies, only from Tums.
Behind the fridge, quietly rotting into black goo, is the banana you thought he wolfed down last week. Pine Sol. Cleaning what stinks since 1929.
Hi, this is Jennifer. I will be out of the office until Monday and won't be checking voicemail during this time. I'll reply just as soon as I get back to work.
Sail with the #1 cruise line in Alaska. Save up to $500 during our 50th anniversary sale. Call your travel consultant or 1-800-PRINCESS. Princess Cruises. Come back new.
Thrilled to have Jim Cantore on the show. He's been through like 80 tropical systems.
So we've got like 60 years of experience here. And that's just Sam.
Watch Jim Cantore, Sam Champion, and Jennifer Delgado on AMHQ, weekday mornings at 7. Stay with us for the latest on Winter Storm Juno.
Things are really going to pick up as the night goes along.
We're live from across the region with more in a moment. Only the Weather Channel.
Andrew, Rita, Sandy. Meet Chris, Jackie, Joe. Minor damage or major disaster. When you need us most, we're there. State Farm. We're a force of nature, too.
Let's go from our little girl to all grown up. Let's say out with the old and in with the options, like that one, or those, with features like this. Let's get exactly what we imagined for less than we thought, and turn a modest budget into a majorly stylish bath. New bathroom? No problem. Let's do this. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Shop stylish vanities in-store and online.
Cheez-It Grooves are the best of both worlds, like a Cheez-It and a chip.
Oh, you just put them together?
Yes.
Closer. Closer. They're kissing.
We take time for our cheese to mature in our crispy Cheez-It Grooves.
Well, you are watching live extended coverage on the Weather Channel of Winter Storm Juno. A historic blizzard is taking aim on the Northeast and New England. Air travel being severely impacted. No flights are planned for Boston Logan tomorrow. New York's LaGuardia and JFK have very limited operations as well. And several airlines are offering waivers for those booked on flights at those affected airports. Now that we've defined where the problems are, where we're seeing some of these delays and problems here at some of the airports, we want to find out what's been going on here in parts of New England. We have Keith Carson live in Boston right now. And Keith, definitely conditions deteriorating there now.
Yeah, you know, they are, Kim, and I think that we're really about to get walloped here shortly with a band that has been holding together very well across just to the south of Boston. We're here in Boston Common, and if you've not visited here or not as familiar with it, we're oriented basically that way as south. So the winds now are turned northeast out of this direction, and we're going to get some strong winds in here for sure, but Boston itself is less concerned about that part of it being a little bit more sheltered, particularly in the Common. We're going to look for the strongest winds to be right out North Shore, maybe Revere area, Plum Island, maybe up into Gloucester. That's where we're going to see the strongest winds. But you know, things have changed here in the past couple of hours. When I first came out here, there were a lot of people around. They were getting the last minute errands done. Then people were still jogging and everything. They were dedicated to their routine. Now it's cleared out. The city is about to be in lockdown mode, and you can see it in Boston Common. A few people walking around, presumably they live in the city itself, because if they want to get out of the city, they need to do so relatively quickly before we get these really thumping bands of snow coming in. Now, all the snow I'm walking on, for full disclosure, some of it's old, some of it's new. If you live in the Northeast, you know, or anywhere across the northern plains, you know the difference between week-old snow and new snow, and some crunchy stuff. And on top of it, we probably got about an inch, maybe a little over an inch of the new fluffy stuff from this. But I'd imagine the next hour or so with that next band, we're going to add a lot to that really, really quickly. All right, let's talk about, I got my little notepad in here. Let's talk about specifics, what Boston is doing here to prepare and what they're going to be closing. So we're already past the point where you can't have your car parked on certain roads. They're going to start towing them. They need to get them out of the way in order to get the plow going in here. By midnight, that's when we're in the full-out travel ban. So they're giving everybody time to get home from work and to hunker down. After midnight, if you're not a police officer, if you're not a plow operator, you can no longer be on the road. So that's going to be treated as an offense at that point. Other things to note if you live in the Boston area is that the T, or the MBTA, which is for everybody else in the world, the subway, but we call it the T here in Boston, that's not going to be running tomorrow. So you're not going to have any service on that. You're not going to be able to drive. And Logan, obviously, is going to be shut down through the day tomorrow. So the message is very clear here, which is don't go anywhere. After midnight tonight, wherever you're at, stay there. And ladies, this is a really big one in Boston. They're actually discounting parking so you can get your car off the street. In a city in which you shovel out a spot and put a chair in it to save it, that's a big deal that they're able to give you discounted parking here in Boston.
Way to end that on a positive note, Keith. We're just checking observations, though. It is coming. We just saw S+ at Chatham, quarter-mile visibility, so it's beginning right about now.
You know, the sick thing is that I'm kind of excited for that band to get in here. But I guess if I didn't feel that way, I shouldn't be in this business. But yeah, we're probably going to get hammered here in 15 or 20 minutes. So they call that, they always say they want good teases, keep viewers around. How about that? We're going to get our butts kicked here shortly. That should be a good one.
All right, and we'll be here watching it too. All right, thanks, Keith. We appreciate it. All right, he's one of the cities that will see long-duration impacts from Juno, maybe 16 hours of blizzard conditions.
That's right. We've got the timing for you right now, showing the darker blue, indicating those heavier snow bands working their way through Boston, as well as eastern Mass, back towards Worcester. You're going to have to deal with some heavy snow as well. Keep in mind, those winds are already strong out towards Cape Cod, gusting as high as 62 miles per hour. And we're going to see that snow really pile up, Kim. We're talking up to 2 feet of snow, a possibility around the Plymouth area.
Yeah, and Kelly, the scary thing is that we're going to see drifts, maybe twice as high as that or 3 times as high as that. So it's going to be a major problem. 20 inches in the Boston area, Gloucester at 21, up in Salem, probably about 20 inches as well.
And that's why they're saying stay off the roads, and of course issues with the airport as well. Tomorrow is going to be a very bad day as well. Winter Storm Juno will bring strong winds and high tides along the coast.
We're keeping a close eye on it. We'll talk about that coming up.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that words really can hurt you?
What?
Jesse, don't go! Jesse, no!
I'm sorry, Daisy, but I'm a loner, and a loner's gotta be alone.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jesse?
Energizer Ultimate Lithium, the world's longest-lasting AA battery in high-tech devices. Up to 6 times longer than the other leading brand.
The best part about going to Walt Disney World just might be staying at a Walt Disney World Resort Hotel. From royal encounters to royal rooms. And pirates to paradise. The magic never has to stop. And now you can save up to 30% off a select Walt Disney World Resort hotel room. Book your stay now and discover how close the magic can be.
There's a myth out there that you can't do it all. That you can't be everything to everyone. Well, consider that myth shattered. This is the full line of Ram ProMaster vans and the all-new Ram ProMaster City, built to help you run the town from every direction.
Weather invention.
Wow, anybody else surprised it actually worked?
Mother Nature can absolutely change people.
I'm ready to get out of here and create a new track.
This is a tornado emergency.
It was hard to believe weather could do that.
Never seen anything like this in my life.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. so I could call and thank him. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-571-6603. That's 1-800-571-6603. Call now, 1-800-571-6603. For a free brochure, call 1-800-571-6603.
Stay tuned for your Local on the 8s, brought to you by Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
If you have Medicare Part D, Walgreens gets that you might be at the corner of looking for a good deal, and sheesh, I wish I'd looked some more. That's why Walgreens makes it easy to switch your prescriptions and save money. Just stop by and leave all the legwork to us. Switch your prescriptions to Walgreens, where you could save even more on Medicare Part D with copays as low as $0. At the corner of happy and healthy.
Currently in our area, 58 degrees under clear skies. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 49. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, a mainly sunny sky. High 71. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tuesday night, some clouds early will give way to generally clear conditions overnight. Low 50. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Our coverage of Winter Storm Juno, an historic blizzard, continues with a live look in New York City. On the left side, that's the view from the top of the rock, and you can see the snow coming down, reduced visibility for sure. And on the right-hand side, that is a look at Times Square, where, yeah, it's not as busy as it typically would be, even though it is getting later into the evening. The city is pretty much coming to a standstill because everybody's getting ready for this big Winter Storm Juno. Several hours of heavy snow is on the way for tonight. Very strong winds are going to be blowing as well. And while residents have been racing to stock up, the governor has been relaying a strong message. Get off the roads or you'll face the consequences. Let's check in now with our Jen Carfagno joining us. I guess you're allowed to be out on the roads, Jen, because you're covering this story.
Well, yes, but you know what? There's only about 45 minutes left, or 40 minutes left until all these cars that you'll see one at a time maybe coming behind me need to be off the road. There's not much traffic, and I'll tell you what, after this storm, the one thing we will not be able to say is we weren't prepared, because New York City is prepared for this winter storm. I went through the list of closings. The bridges are closed, the Holland Tunnel, the Lincoln Tunnel, all the tunnels and all the crossings basically are closed. And we've got pretty much no way to get around after 11 o'clock tonight unless you are on skis. Look at this, cross-country skiing. I love it. I love it. All right, here, let's chat with you for a second. What's your name?
Hi, I'm William.
William? All right, so you decided to come out and do some skiing?
Yeah, it's a beautiful night for a ski, some urban cross-country skiing for my first time skiing. Why not?
So you were out in the park?
Yeah, we were just out in the park. It's a bit of accumulation out there. It's really nice though. Beautiful night.
Did you notice the barricades in front of the park?
We did on the way out.
on the way out. So yeah, so the park has barricades up because they're asking folks not to be in the park. Once the heavy snow begins, there could be some issues with tree limbs and whatnot. All right, what are you planning to do next?
I think after this, we're gonna take a ski down, check out Times Square, then call it a night.
All right, sounds good. You guys ready? You're bundled up? You prepared for the wind?
Keeping warm, just beautiful night.
All right. Thank you so much. I won't step on your skis. All right, so this is tomorrow, I think, going to be one of the best ways to get around after the snow here. But guys, seriously, the subway will stop running at 11 o'clock. No cars on the road after 11 o'clock. The trains, everything shutting down at 11 o'clock tonight. And folks are asked to stay inside. The wind has not been too bad just yet. At times it picks up, it gusts to 15 or maybe 20 miles per hour. I doubt if it's quite that high. And it's uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. The concern is that overnight tonight it's going to be dangerous and the roads are going to get dangerous. I want to show you what we're dealing with. Just to start, we had 4.5 inches of snow today, and this is Columbus Circle, and you'll see there's a coating out here. This is slippery, and this is what's the base, and temperatures are in the 20s. So if we put down inches, if not a foot of snow on top of that base very quickly, that's going to be a very slick situation out here through not just overnight tonight, but tomorrow as well. Now, one thing I want to point out, you'll see a few cars going by here, but there's not many people. And over here is a subway station. This time of night, I know it's late, but still in New York City, this time of night that would be busy. It is not. There are a few people going down, maybe trying to get one of the last trains out tonight, but overall things are really slowing down here in New York City. I've seen plows out, I've seen trucks out driving around with shovels in the back. So New York City is ready for the snow tonight, and we're just watching that radar and watching that band of snow, which right now is dumping over Long Island. Kim and Kelly, back to you.
And Jen, you were saying it's already slippery. Maybe that guy's got the right idea getting around on skis, right? Maybe even the ice skates.
I think he does.
And Jen, you commented about already being slippery out there. I'm looking at the extended forecast. We stay around freezing, if not below freezing, over the next couple of days. So it's going to stay like this for a while unless those roads are treated.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that's a conversation I had with some folks here earlier today. Is the concern is it's not going to warm up, and especially not so much in New York City, but folks who out in the suburbs got to dig out their driveways and get out to get into the city or get out to the train stations. They need to get that done because there's not going to be any melting to help with this snow removal process. That's for sure.
All right, Jen, thanks so much. Hopefully nobody loses their power in this because it's going to be very cold for quite a while. Jen, thanks so much for that live report. We're going to be checking back with Jen, especially as those heavier snow bands start working in.
Yeah, we want to see that for sure. Our coverage of this historic blizzard continues next.
With as many as 16 hours of blinding snow and driving winds possible, we are keeping a very close eye on Boston. We're going to have a live update from there straight ahead.
All right, so this Tylenol arthritis lasts 8 hours, but Aleve can last 12 hours. And Aleve is proven to work better on pain than Tylenol arthritis. So why am I still thinking about this?
How are you?
Get Aleve, proven better on pain.
Here are the keys, man. It's all mine.
Parenthood isn't gonna change me. I'll still see the guys every weekend and rock out in the basement. Please.
Hey, where are you?
I'm still king of this castle.
Lots of great features. You're gonna love the backseat pocket.
It's not like I'm gonna get a minivan.
Life can surprise you. So can an Allstate agent. Now they can save you $3,000 on a new car with the Allstate car buying service. The good hands are doing more than ever before.
Sir, we're gonna need you on the runway later.
Don't let a severe cold hold you back. Get Theraflu. It has the power of 3 medicines to take on your worst pain and fever, cough, and nasal congestion. Theraflu breaks you free from your toughest cold and flu symptoms, so you never miss a day. Theraflu, serious power.
Olive Garden's new 8 under 8 lunch combinations featuring 2 new house-made flatbreads, like our Pizziola flatbreads layered with Italian meats and cheeses, and our fresh and flavorful Mediterranean flatbread, plus super salad and breadsticks. 8 under 8 lunch combinations at Olive Garden.
She inspires you. No question about that. But your erectile dysfunction, that could be a question of blood flow. Cialis Tadalafil for daily use helps you be ready anytime the moment's right. You can be more confident in your ability to be ready. And the same Cialis is the only daily ED tablet approved to treat ED and symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently or urgently. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines, and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any allergic reactions like rash, hives, swelling of the lips, tongue, or throat, or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
Ring, ring.
Progresso.
It's okay that your soup tastes like my homemade.
It's our slow-simmered vegetables and tender white meat chicken.
Apology accepted. I'm watching you, soup people.
Make it Progresso or make it yourself.
Thrilled to have Jim Cantore on the show. He's been through like 80 tropical systems.
So we've got like 60 years of experience here. And that's just Sam.
Watch Jim Cantore, Sam Champion, and Jennifer Delgado on AMHQ, weekday mornings at 7. Stay with us for the latest on Winter Storm Juno.
Things are really going to pick up as the night goes along.
We're live from across the region with more in a moment. Only the Weather Channel.
Hey everybody, you gotta check this out and listen to it too. This is insane new video coming in from New Jersey, from Ocean County, just north of Atlantic City. This was not that long ago, and you can certainly hear the wind and see the snow blowing sideways there.
Reminds me of a hurricane, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yes, you would think somebody's standing out in the middle of a hurricane, but this is from our historic storm, Juno, already showing its strength along the New England coast.
And in fact, a hurricane wind warning just issued for the waters just off the coast of the Northeast. Thanks for joining us. Live team coverage all night right here on the Weather Channel. I'm Kelly Cass along with Kim Cunningham.
And you know, we have meteorologists positioned throughout the entire Northeast to bring you live images of Winter Storm Juno as the snow moves in and the winds begin to howl. Keith Carson is anchoring our coverage in Boston tonight. Keith, big storm even by Boston standards. Really thinking that your conditions are going to really start to go downhill soon.
Yeah, I think you're dead on about that. We're going to get some really thumping snow in here shortly. So far, it has been steady for sure. I mean, there's a lot of snowstorms.